All right, Situate, what do you think of that? What a town we live in. What community members we have. We have so much to be proud of. It's incredible. We have a few people to thank. First, we have some amazing students here from the Situate STAR program. Our high school students, the group is students taking action against racism, and their leader, Cheryl Pace, who's a teacher there at the school too. And was and my name is Megan Summer, and I'm from Situate Stride, which is Situate Together for Representation, Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity. And we're a group of your friends and neighbors who hold community conversations and meetings, and we would love to have you join us. Any information you'd like to have can be found at situatestride.org. We also have a very, very special guest in attendance, Edmund Noland, if you could please stand up. Edmund is Situate's biggest movie fan, and he developed a very special connection with Jeffrey Wright, and we're super proud of you and happy to have you here. And we'd like to thank Anne-Marie Galvin to make this happen, along with Emily McCulloch, who is the owner of the reel, and producer Ben LeClaire, who just worked around the clock to make sure that this could happen to the town. And now I have the honor of introducing these three incredible people to my right. These individuals will serve as our panelists with the questions from Jamele. First we have Bates Wilder, who you will recognize as the snarky book award judge. From the movie. He's a graduate of Situate High School and the Boston Conservatory. He has been a professional actor for more than 40 years on the stage, for film, and for television. And not only that, but he's also been a teacher of the craft for 35 years. He is a father of 5 and grandfather of 3. And we love seeing you up there on the big screen. Next we have Dina Dray. A 2003 graduate of Situate High School, Dina is a visionary leader and dedicated social justice advocate. She is also a small business owner and mother of 2. As a first-generation Cape Verdean American, Dina is committed to fostering inclusive environments and empowering marginalized voices. Dina is an incredibly valuable member of the Situate community and beyond, and we are grateful to hear her insights and experiences. And finally, we have Jamele Adams. Jamele serves as the DEI Director for Situate Public Schools and has become a beloved member of our community. Infusing his optimism, hope, and love into all aspects of his work, Jamele truly leads by example and fosters acceptance through his love, inclusion, and trust groups in our schools. He's known and recognized throughout the Commonwealth for founding freedom teams whose mission is to preserve freedom by creating unity and trust. Jamele is a TED Talk presenter, former dean of Brandeis University, an all-around incredible human. Thank you all for coming and for sharing this amazing night with us, and I'm going to pass this along to my amazing moderator over here to my right, Jamele Stevens.
Let's go! Hi guys! Wait, is it working? Okay, hi guys! I just have some questions for you three. The first question is, what is your connection to Situate and to the movie?
Me? I was, is this working?
Yes.
Hard to tell. Yeah, I was born, well, not born, I was born at the South Shore Hospital. Quickly driven here. And I grew up here, went to Hatherley, Cushing, it's the old junior high, and now well, nothing that is still there. There's nothing of that, the high school I went to. Yeah, I graduated in '79, went to Boston Conservatory after that, and I traveled with people. I was in a sketch mime comedy company. I was a singing waiter, doing like small TV and film stuff and some bigger stuff. But it's all just part of this career that I've had a blast doing, and I kind of landed into this film thanks to Ben LeClaire. Yeah. Ben LeClaire, to be clear, I didn't know him. And I had auditioned for 3 roles in this film. And they kept calling and saying, no, audition for this other one. And I was doing self-tapes from my house. And I'm like, don't they know? I mean, can't they figure out from what I've already done that they, what they need? And I didn't know why. And there's a producer that really wants you to get a part in it. I'm like, who? And they're like, Ben LeClaire, apparently from Scituate. And I'm looking him up. He like Facebook, it looked like an old Kennedy picture. I got to the set. I didn't know if I was going to lie. I was like, I got to meet this guy, and I was so worried about it. And I went to a PA, and I said, where's Ben LeClaire? He said, this is the guy in the cap over there. And I came up and went like that, and he goes, you don't know me. He said, you don't know me. I was like, oh, good, thank you. I was about to be like, so thanks, man. But he had known the drama club when he was in high school, and always wanted to join. He went to all the shows, and he started naming off everybody that I knew in the drama club from the 90s. And he said, yeah, I was too nervous, I was too shy, and I always wanted to give back to the drama club and give back to the town. And he said, I wanted to get you in the picture, and I wanted to use as much of the town as possible too. And later, when I saw the movie for the first time, I realized he meant that you were shooting down here. I didn't know that until I saw it. All my stuff was in Boston. It was at the Harvard Club and in Brookline, all over the place. No one said Scituate to me. So, and then I found out that's Ben LeClaire. God bless him. And without him, I wouldn't have gotten it. So, yeah. So that's me.
Should I go next? Now we have Miss Dray.
Can you hear me?
Seat.
I didn't know if it was on. Okay. So I'm Dina. I was also born and raised in Scituate, Massachusetts. I grew up in Sand Hills, right where the movie was filmed. I graduated in 2003 and didn't even walk at my graduation because I had a one-way ticket to Hawaii, which was the furthest place that I could get from Scituate without a passport. So that's what I thought that I wanted, until after many years in Hawaii and having my 2 kids there and becoming a single mom, I was terribly homesick, and I decided to move back. And it was hard to get back in. When I left it, I was like, I'm putting this town in my rear view. But once I tried to get back in, they were like, we might be full. So I finally was able to buy a house in Scituate in 2020. So my kids go to Scituate schools, which is amazing, and we love it here. And when we moved back, I kind of felt called to seek out like-minded people and people who also wanted to make Scituate a better, safer, more equitable, more diverse place, especially since I was going to be raising my children where I grew up. So I started looking into organizations like Stride, and I found that I didn't have to be the one to necessarily start things because it was already in place. There were already wonderful people here that were doing the type of things that I wanted to be a part of. So I started doing that. I've been rocking with this guy and doing lots of stuff in the community, and I couldn't be prouder to be back.
So first, before I say anything, Jamele is being very humble, in that next Friday, as far as I can recall and have researched, the first ever Black History Month event is taking place at Citrus High School. It's because Jamele had the initiative to say, let's do something. So that'll happen, and it will just continue to do great things. And then I know it's not the Grammys, not like that, but I want to show love to my queen who's in the building. My wife is here. But another reason why I start this is because the question had to do with like the relation to the movie. So there's a couple of things. We have realized in a Zoom call together that we had 3 different perspectives tonight for the film. One is that Bates was in it, and then the other is that Dina had actually, at this point, seen it at least twice at this point, and that I refused to see it till tonight. And so so we have, you know, my general first reactions to it, and then someone who's seen it before, and then someone's actually in it. And what I didn't know was that part of my reaction to it, and I'm liking the love heavy, and I consider it like a love story in so many respects, was how I would react to seeing the overhead shots of the beaches. Because folks who may recall what happened with myself and the beaches, and so it immediately took me to that place, and I was like, and so I was just navigating through some of that. But again, I mentioned my wife because this is the first time she has been here since all that has happened in this vicinity. But the other thing that it made me remember is all the love that's in this community, because all of you all that sent love to myself and to my family is what allowed us to be back in the space and allow my family to feel good about myself being back in this place. So that movie had a whole different journey for me to take along with the love that was there. So it's a powerful feeling. And so I want to say, again, thank you for the love. Thank you for what you all put into this community and making it what it is, and discrediting all the folks that don't believe in the power of what's here in this community. So thank you all for that.
All right, the mic's working, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like it does, but
Yeah.
if it does,
All right, our second question is, what part or scene from the movie did you feel most strongly about and why?
why don't you start?
So there's so many. Like Jamele said, I've seen it multiple times, and there's so many. But one of my absolute favorites / least favorite parts is one of the scenes that you're in, Bates. They're in the judges' room, and they're all deciding on the books, and they've finally decided. They've got their 10th nomination. It's for sure. It's settled. It's 2 against 3. And the white lady, oh, my mom told me not to say white. The white lady says,
That white lady.
says, you know what? It's just really important that we listen to Black voices while they're actively not listening to Black voices. So that happens more that really stuck out the most. That, and I'll do a happier one. That beach, Sand Hills, where I grew up, where my kids lived a lot of their childhood, where my parents still live, is just like the most special place for me. And not until I saw it this time was I reminded of one particular beach day. I'd say my kids were like maybe 10. And I have a ton of cousins. And not just because I'm Cape Verdean, I just have a big family. And one random summer Saturday, maybe, a bunch of my cousins decided to come down to my grandmother's house. And we live literally right there, where most of the scenes were shot. And we had this amazing impromptu beach day with like literally 30 cousins. All the little cousins were in the water. Everybody was having a great time. They walked down to the general store, which is in a lot of these shots, got ice cream, we even got some pizzas, and it was just totally unplanned, and it was just one of the best days, and it was shot right there, so that's a nice situation.
it's interesting for me in that we're really, Stanislavski, the great Stanislavski, would say that we're, in Russian, he'd say that we're compelled to change our audience. The audience has to leave different. If they're watching a movie, watching a TV show, watching a play, when they leave, they have to be different. Not better, just different. We have to think. We have to do something that makes people consider something about their life. So we look for people who resonate with us, resonate with our heartbeats. We'll see other characters that might resonate in a completely different way, that might be like, that's my nemesis there, or that's my lover there. But we have to take seriously all of those moments as we work, understanding that we can't show what we're doing. We can't be like, ta-da, we're acting. We have to kind of live and be that, live the life of that character. Instead of be mad, be happy, be sad, we need to live, and the audience makes the decision or makes the judgment about how we behave and what our story is trying to tell, if that makes sense. So there's lots of moments in the movie that were beautiful and just change and make me think. And there's one in particular, which is not a big deal, but when his brother says, "People want to love you. Let them love all of you." And the way it's set up is so perfect. We see all of his pains, and we see all of Monk's pains, and they're like magnets. They keep coming back to each other. As much as the brother hates him, he wants to come back, and he wants to teach him how to love. You know, I think it's really beautiful. It's a nuanced thing throughout the film, but it's played so well. I forget the gentleman's name that plays his brother. He's up for an Oscar. He's so good, and I'm rooting for him for an Oscar. He won't get it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're fortunate that it's taken hold as much as it has, and like I said, for me, it's our compulsion to change the audience, to give you the opportunity to go on a journey, and in order for you to go on a journey, the characters in the film have to go on a journey. My character didn't have much of a journey. His function was to show, yeah, that's the white guy. That's who I was. And it complemented, the journey of Monk and Monk's brother and the girlfriend, the sister. Little parts like that's why there's all these beautiful little tiny parts in it. And the other thing I want to say, sorry, another thing I love is I see so many of my former acting students that I've taught either at Emerson or at CP Casting. I see them in the movie. The guy that plays the girlfriend's former husband, he's in that one scene. I was like, I know him. Taught him in 2012. The guy who plays one of the gay men that's at the one talking about the smoothie. Yeah, he's I've coached him a number of times. He's a Blue Man. He's one of the Blue Man group. Yeah. So yes, I love going to movies. Like a couple of people from Sheer Madness. I worked with Sheer Madness for a number of years. Celeste Oliva was in it. She played a nurse. Joe Morella was at the early book club meeting where there were like only 10 people. He was one talking about his book. So yeah, it's kind of like Old Home Week, which was a lot of fun. So I talk too much.
I'll keep it quick. There was a couple things that stuck out to me that were favorites of mine in the film. One, although Black History Month is every month in here, but I recently learned that there's themes for Black History Month. I didn't realize that. And this year, the theme is art. And so it stands to be the case that we're doing a film. In this film, there were so many celebrations of Black love that I appreciated. I love the love between the brothers that was present there. Them playing at the pool, and then them kissing his brother on the forehead, and just being there with each other. Like, I love the strength of those brothers being together like that. And I love the love that was shown between I don't know if he's an officer, I think, and the woman. Yeah, and the woman. That was like a love of come back, and they end up getting married. Like, that was so powerful, just to see that love there. Another thing that was kind of funny, it was interesting to hear the audience's reaction in the beginning when they was talking about what kind of white was the person. Was it Southie white or was I was like, I was thinking like, I wonder how this gonna go over. So I can, I don't know if it's what I most relate to, but what hit me so much, and it reminded me of the Kamala Harris, KBJ hearings, that at the end of the film, after everything that's gone through and his own identity development, things like that, they get in the car and they get ready to leave, and they're leaving the set, and he looks over and he sees this one character, he's this one actor getting ready to either audition or has already got the scene, and he's dressed, and you know he's either enslaved or something, and it's like, all of that, and this is what's happening, and that's the thing, that's the image that hits there. And it reminded me of when KBJ was going through her hearings, that Cory Booker, many of us have seen it, Cory Booker went through this whole thing and said how she's strong and powerful, and you're going through the most disrespectful thing ever for anyone going through this process. And then at the end of his thing, he says, now, when you go back into it, against letting her know you got to go through some more, it's like, really? Like, when is the end kind of thing? So that's kind of where it hit me. With that piece, so.
Say the question again. I'm old.
Okay, what part or scene from the movie did you most relate to?
Oh. If I may.
Please.
You saw who my character was. I'm not that. But it would be a lie if I said I wasn't kind of brought up in that world. And I kind of was that guy. And it's an ignorant racism. It's not an active, an active put down or active oppression. But it's an ignorant, oh yeah, that's the way things are, racism. That when you really dissect it, it's kind of the worst because it's hard to identify. You can identify someone that's being violent, but it's hard to identify, oh, he doesn't mean anything by that. And I look back on things that I've said in my past where I'm like, yeah, I didn't mean anything when I said that. Then I look at it and say, I'm talking from a position of, I'm that past middle-aged white guy now in my life, and I know I represent someone who marginalized an entire race, and I was kind of brought up in that world, and I've kind of had my own battle against it. I'm not even remotely perfect. I'm still trying to figure stuff out. And I traveled with this group called Up With People, as I said earlier, for a year, and had the highest of highs in my life and the lowest of lows in my life in that year. I saw someone die. I performed at the Hollywood Bowl, the Superdome, singing solos in front of people, and then I'm digging a ditch in a Native American reservation in Arizona. We're all over the place, and I'm seeing all these different things, and I'm watching how people look at racism. And we stayed with host families, and one of the families we stayed with, I'm sorry I'm going on here, but this is important. One of the families I stayed with, a guy named Lee Price in Jackson, Mississippi. We did a tour through Mississippi. And he was the nicest guy, just nice as can be. And after a couple of days at his house, I felt like, I could say something. What do I'm from the east, northeast, and we're brought up knowing that there's this systemic racism, and we have it up east, but we hear it's real bad down here. And he said, we don't have racism here. N-words know their place. And I remember it flipped me upside down, And it takes something like that to ring a bell, or to set off an alarm, or to just make you aware. So I try to put that in my work, my knowledge of who that character is, and not play it for I'm not trying to be dramatic. It's a comic relief character, but who he is it's pretty serious who that guy is. He's just a quiet little racist guy. So, I don't know, let's be careful, folks. I see a lot of other white people here, a lot of us. Yeah, I mean, and we're all good, and we're all imperfect as well. So, I don't know, that's what kind of stuck out to me.
Wow. Of all the scenarios that went through my head about this panel, Bates Wilder almost bringing me to tears was not one of them. So, but that was an amazing answer. Thank you for sharing that. There's so much about this movie that is relatable to me. Not just that it was filmed across the street from my mom's house, or that it's the beach that I grew up on and have some of the happiest childhood memories. There's the racial tones of the movie are painfully accurate sometimes, like almost hard to watch, and that's what I like about it. Because if it's hard for me to watch some of those scenes, I hope, we talked about this, about how some movies are like teachy movies and almost preachy, and this movie is not that at all. But there are so many lessons if you look for them. There are
Yeah, if you
so
have those
many
lessons in a byproduct,
right?
as a byproduct of the entertainment, then that's what Court Jefferson, that's where he's really scored here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I'm learning from the movie, and I've seen it a few times now to prepare for this, but it's brilliant, and there's just so many undertones that just absolutely hit the mark. And I'm unsure if other audiences, my mom said not to say white people, pick up on it. But speaking of moms, I feel like as like a member of this community and a member of the Cape Verdean community, I see a lot of, how do I say this without getting in trouble with my mom later? Oh man, let me just say this. My mom does so much in this community, and she is my hero. So when we sell out things like this in like less than 24 hours, that's beautiful, and it makes me so happy. And it's one of those moments where it's like, oh, we're uplifting Black voices, and we want different perspectives and all that. But there's something called the Scituate Cape Verde Sister City Committee, and my mom happens to be one of the chairs of that committee. And they are putting on a film festival next week. And I just hope that our community shows up for the actual people of color in this community. Sometimes things like this, it's not always easy to share our stories of like, racial trauma or like things that we've been through. That can be really hard, and like putting, Black voices, that's great, but sometimes it's taxing and it's hard, and it's Black History Month, and just like in the movie, like Black stories are not just about Black trauma, and like sometimes you got to show up when it's about Black joy and Black love and Black triumph and sharing Black culture, and that's what they're attempting to do next week. So I hope they sell that out too, because those if you're looking for my mom later for more information on this, she'll be the best looking person in the room. She always is. And without Angela Dray, there's no Dina Dray, local activist. There's no Bobby Dray, local hockey super stud. There's no Grace Dray, the president of the GSA, or Kaikua Dray Cleveland, the captain of the basketball team. That's all thanks to the hard work and love and dedication of a Black woman, and shout out to Black women.
We got the note. We got the statement. But, and Dina, and you talking about your mom, what it made me want to say to folks, especially as part of a parental team, was the movie actually spoke about the importance of family, particularly mothers and fathers. And it struck a chord with me with the brother, where his father never got to. He said his father never got to see him be his real self, as he identified fully as a gay black man. And then when he was with his mom and dancing, it was beautiful. In that moment, she still didn't see him in that way, even though she's going. And that was just painful. So as parents, the love is real and it has an impact on folks and children and kids, because he's always going to be their child. No matter how old I get, my mom was always gonna see me as a little baby kind of deal. So it matters that we are able to be our full selves. A lot of us to our parents in many ways. So you talking about them and you want to think about that.
Is it okay if I say something as well? Okay, thank you. I just wanted to relate to the mirror as well. I would say like the stereotypes is something I relate to a lot.
Sweetheart, can you speak up?
Oh, I'm sorry.
The mic,
Thank you.
tip it up, just tip it a little bit and it'll work.
Yeah, just hold it closer to your mouth.
Yeah, just a little closer and turn it toward you.
Okay, can you guys hear me better?
Oh, listen to you.
Okay, so I would say that stereotypes is something that I kind of relate to, like more leaning on microaggression. When I transferred to Situate, I transferred in Cushing in 5th grade, but the microaggression started happening in 6th grade to all the way to 8th grade. Me and my best friend Serenity, we would be called like sisters or like cousins, and people would think that we're related and like make jokes of it. And I would be called her, and she would be called me. Later on, people would like say, "Oh, hi Serenity, I like your locks" or something, and I have braids. So it was like kind of a lot to deal with, and it was really annoying. So I just kind of put up with it and explained to them that I'm not Serenity and all that, just in a respectful manner, because I know they don't understand. That's like why it gave me the thought to create like a Black History Month event in my school, just to teach them more about it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to continue doing this for all my 4 years.
That's fantastic.
That's also why, like, I just feel like, that's also why I made a microaggression essay, guys, just to represent my, like, experience, because I know I don't want other MECO students going through the same thing I went to. I want all of us to acknowledge Black African-American characteristics, know the difference between them, and just know how we feel. And it's okay to ask questions about hair, culture, but, like, I want them to, like, learn how to act in a respectful manner. Yeah. That's all I have to say.
I'm so proud that you graced us with that. I'm so proud of you, girl. Okay, we're gonna wrap it up now. I want to thank all of you for coming and hearing us talk and letting me brag about my family, and for coming today. And thank you to Stride and everyone. We love y'all.
Thank you very much.